Today, we're traveling back 90 years before Game of Thrones, and let me tell you, the vibe has completely changed. In the first story, The Hedge Knight, it was springtime, the flowers were blooming, the nights were shining, and everything felt hopeful. But now, we have fast-forwarded 2 years, and we are in the middle of a brutal, oppressive summer. The heat is suffocating, the grass is dead, but it's not just the weather that's ugly. Westeros is in total turmoil. Since we last saw Duncan Egg, the good King Aegon Targaryen has died from the Great Spring Sickness. His heir, the heroic Prince Baelor, tragically dead. So who is sitting on the Iron Throne? King Aerys the First. And guys, this king is, well, he's useless. He cares more about reading dusty old books than ruling a starving kingdom. So who's actually running the show? His uncle, Brynden Rivers, better known as Bloodraven. This is massive lore. Bloodraven is an albino Targaryen bastard, a rumored sorcerer, and the master of whisperers. If that name sounds familiar, it's because 90 years later, this guy becomes the three-eyed raven who teaches magic to Bran Stark. But right now, he is the hand of the king, and he rules with an iron fist.
When the plague hit King's Landing, Bloodraven didn't mess around. He piled up thousands of corpses in the dragon pit and burned them with wildfire. The history books say the pyres were so massive that the whole city glowed green in the night. That is the terrifying dark atmosphere we are living in right now. The realm is scared. Ironborn are raiding the coasts, there is a massive drought, and across the sea, the exiled Bittersteel is plotting an invasion with the Blackfyres. Amidst all this chaos, we find our heroes. Dunk, a humble hedge knight who isn't the smartest guy in the room, but is tall, strong, and determined to do what's right. And his squire, Egg, who is secretly Prince Aegon Targaryen, hiding his silver hair under a shaved head. They have spent the last 2 years fighting pirates in Dorne and visiting Egg's brother Aemon in Old Town. But now they are broke, tired, and sweating in the Reach. They have taken service with a knight named Ser Eustace Osgrey, and let me introduce you to Eustace because he is a character. He lives in a tower called Standfast. He calls it a castle, but let's be real, it's a crumbling stone tower surrounded by a few pathetic huts. Eustace is a sad, broken old man who lives entirely in the past. Why? Because 15 years ago, he lost everything in the Blackfyre Rebellion. His sons were killed in battle, his wife committed suicide out of grief, his daughter died in the plague. He is a man surrounded by ghosts, but he copes with it by obsessing over the glory days. He constantly tells Dunk about the Battle of the Redgrass Field. He doesn't talk about the horror, he talks about how beautiful the sunset was over the bloody grass. He toasts to the king, he keeps ancient relics of his family, and he dreams of the days when the Osgreys were the marshals of the North March. He is proud, but it's a sad, empty pride. Dunk feels bad for the old man. He wants to help him. But the problem is, Dunk has to work alongside another knight named Sir Bennis of the Brown Shield. And Bennis? Oh man, Bennis is the worst. He's mean-spirited, he's loud, and he's the kind of guy who would kick a puppy just for fun. He is the opposite of a true knight. The real conflict kicks off when Dunk and Egg notice something terrifying. The Chequy water, the stream that runs past the village, has gone dry. Now, in a drought, water is life. Without this stream, the crops will die, the sheep will die, and the peasants will starve. Dunk and Bennis ride upstream to investigate, hoping it's just a blockage. But what they find is an act of war. Lady Rohanne Webber of Coldmoat, the neighbor, has built a massive dam. She has completely cut off the water flow to take it all for herself. Dunk, being the good guy, wants to talk. He wants to ride over there and ask nicely. But Bennis chooses violence immediately. While they are looking at the dam, some of Lady Rohanna's peasants shout at them. Bennis doesn't shout back. He draws his longsword and slices the cheek of one of the peasants. Blood is drawn. In Westeros, hurting a lord's servant is a massive crime. Dunk is horrified. He knows Bennis just turned a water dispute into a blood feud. They ride back to Standfast to tell Ser Eustace, and the old man goes ballistic. But he's not mad at Bennis. He's mad at Lady Rohanne. He starts ranting about her. He tells Dunk that she has a spider's heart. He calls her the Red Widow. The rumors say she is a witch who poisoned her first 4 husbands because they bored her. Eustace refuses to let her take his water. He shouts that he needs to prove that Cheeky Lion still has claws. He orders Dunk and Bennis to raise an army. He wants to march on the dam and destroy it. So Dunk and Egg go to the village to train the men. And this is the saddest part. The army is just a bunch of starving farmers. They have no armor. Their weapons are rusty pitchforks and sharpened sticks. They have no idea how to fight. Dunk watches them train and realizes the truth. If he leads these men against the professional knights of Coldmoat, it won't be a battle. It will be a massacre. These innocent people will die for Ser Eustace's pride.
Dunk cannot let that happen. He tells Egg, I won't do it. I won't lead them to slaughter. Instead, he decides to do something incredibly brave and incredibly stupid. He is going to ride to Coldmoat alone. He is going to walk right into the Red Widow's lair and try to talk her into taking down the dam. He's nervous. He's just 19 years old. He's awkward, and he has no idea how to talk to highborn ladies. Egg, who grew up in the royal court, has to actually coach him. Egg helps him pick out his best clothes and tells him what to say so he doesn't sound like a fool. So, leaving the useless army behind, Dunk mounts his horse and rides toward the spider's web, hoping he can solve this with words before the arrows start flying. Dunk rides towards Coldmoat, and guys, the vibe change is insane. Behind him is Standfast, a literal pile of rocks, but ahead, Coldmoat is a beast of a fortress. It's surrounded by a massive moat, which is actually still full of water, unlike Eustace's dry stream. And the walls are lined with the Webber sigil, a spider. It's creepy, it's imposing, and it's a clear warning. You are entering the spider's web. As Dunk crosses the drawbridge, he's expecting to see a monster. He's thinking of the stories Ser Eustace told him, an old withered witch with poison in her veins. But when he finally gets inside the courtyard, he stops dead in his tracks. He sees a woman. She's small, she's athletic, and she has a braid of fiery red hair that reaches all the way down to her waist. She isn't brewing a potion, she's practicing archery, and she's good. I mean, deadly good. Every arrow she lets fly hits the bullseye with a terrifying thwack. This is Lady Rohanne Webber, and she is not the crone Dunk was prepared for. Dunk, being the awkward giant he is, tries to be formal. He bows, he stammers, and he tries to explain why he's there. But Rohanne, she doesn't make it easy. She looks him up and down with these sharp, intelligent eyes and starts mocking him. She calls him Sir Lunk and teases him about his height. She has this razor-sharp wit that cuts deeper than any sword. But then the conversation turns serious. Dunk brings up the dam, he brings up the water, and Rohanne's face goes cold. She tells him straight up, the water belongs to Coldmoat. It was granted to us by the king after the Blackfyre Rebellion. She explains that Ser Eustace lost his rights to that water the moment he became a traitor. This is a huge reality check for Dunk. He realizes in the eyes of the law, the noble Eustace is the villain, and she's just protecting what's hers. And then we meet the muscle. Enter Sir Lucas Inchfield, better known as the Long Inch. This guy is huge, almost as tall as Dunk, but he's lean, mean, and has a face like a hatchet. He's the castellan of Coldmoat, and he is a total creep. He's been trying to force Rohanne to marry him so he can take her lands. The tension between Dunk and the Long Inch is instant. You can practically hear the lightning crackling between them. Dunk tries one last time to settle things. He tells her about the village. He tells her the people are starving. But Rohanne drops the hammer. She knows what Bennis did. She knows her worker was mutilated, and she demands justice. Bring me the man who cut my servant. Deliver Bennis of the Brown Shield to me by dawn so I can take his nose. If you don't, I will ride to Standfast with my knights. I will burn your crops, I will burn your tower, and I will leave nothing but ash. Dunk is shaken. He sees the fire in her eyes, and he knows she isn't bluffing. But as he leaves, Rohanne says something that sticks with him. She tells him that she's been forced into this position. Her father's will states that she must marry by her next birthday, or she loses Coldmoat to a cousin. Every man around her is a spider trying to trap her. She's not a widow because she's a murderer. She's a widow because she's unlucky.
And now she's a woman fighting for her life in a world of men who want to tear her down. Dunk rides away, feeling a strange mix of fear and admiration. He went there to find a monster, but he found a survivor. But none of that matters now, because the clock is ticking. He has less than 12 hours to decide: hand over a fellow knight to be mutilated, or watch an entire village burn to the ground.
Dunk rides back to Standfast, and he is fuming. The heat is bad, but his anger is hotter. He feels betrayed. He feels like a pawn in a game he doesn't understand. Lady Rohanne called his master a traitor, and Dunk needs to know if it's true. He storms into the tower and confronts Ser Eustace. "My lord," he asks, "did you fight for the Black Dragon?" And finally, the old man breaks. The lies crumble. Ser Eustace admits it. During the first Blackfyre Rebellion, the greatest civil war the Seven Kingdoms had seen in 100 years.
He didn't fight for the Targaryens, he fought for Daemon Blackfyre. Now, for those of you who don't know the lore, this is huge. Daemon Blackfyre was the legitimized bastard son of the king. He was a warrior, a hero, a man who looked like a god of war. Ser Eustace loved him. He believed Daemon was the true king because the old king gave him the ancestral sword, Blackfyre. Eustace gave everything for that belief: his lands, his castle, and his 3 sons who died on the battlefield. This moment is heartbreaking, but also terrifying, because standing right there in the corner, listening to this treason, is Egg. Remember, Egg is Prince Aegon Targaryen. His grandfather was the king that Eustace tried to overthrow. His uncles died fighting the very rebels Eustace supported. The tension in the room is thick enough to choke on. Eustace starts rambling about the Redgrass Field, the battle where the rebellion was crushed. He talks about how close they were to winning until Prince Baelor Breakspear and Prince Maekar crushed them. And here is the irony. Maekar is Egg's father. Dunk has to stand there and listen to his master curse his squire's dad. It is awkward with a capital A. Later that night, the tension spills over. Egg is outside polishing armor, and he starts singing a song. But it's not just any song. It's the hammer and the anvil. The grass is red all over when you kill a rebel. Egg is singing a Targaryen victory song. He's singing about how his dad smashed the rebels. He's singing it in the courtyard of a rebel who lost everything. It's a quiet act of defiance from the little prince. Dunk has to tell him to shut up before he gets them both killed. It shows us that even though the war was years ago, the wounds have not healed. The realm is still split between the Red Dragon and the Black Dragon. But there is no time to dwell on history, because the next morning, the world wakes up screaming. Dunk looks out the window, and the horizon is glowing orange. Smoke is billowing into the sky. The forest is on fire.
Ser Eustace loses his mind. He screams that the Red Widow has come. "She promised fire and sword," he yells. "She's burning us out." The panic is instant. Eustace runs around trying to rally his troops. And guys, this army is the saddest thing you have ever seen. It's barely a dozen men. You have old farmers holding rusty pitchforks, a few boys with sticks, and Dunk. That's it. That is the defense of Standfast. Dunk looks at these terrified villagers, and his heart sinks. He knows that if they march out to meet Lady Rohanne's knights, it won't be a battle. It will be a slaughter. These people are going to be cut down like wheat in a field. But Eustace doesn't care. He is obsessed with dying with honor. He wants to go out fighting, even if it means taking everyone else with him. They saddle up. The air is thick with ash. The heat is unbearable, and they ride toward the Chequy Water to make a final, hopeless stand against the might of Coldmoat. Dunk grips his sword, knowing that today is probably the day he dies. They arrive at the Chequy Water, and the sight is hopeless. On one side of the stream, you have Ser Eustace and his army, shaking old men, skinny boys, and Bennis, who looks like he wants to run away. On the other side, a wall of steel. Lady Rohanne has brought her full strength, 20 armored knights on war horses, archers with knocked arrows, and men-at-arms with spears. They look professional. They look deadly. And standing at the front is the Longinge, looking at Dunk like he's a piece of meat he can't wait to butcher. The air is filled with smoke. Ash is falling like gray snow. The heat is suffocating. Ser Eustace draws his sword, his hand trembling, ready to charge into certain death. But Dunk looks at the fire. He looks at the wind, and he realizes something terrified everyone else missed. The wind is blowing away from Standfast. The fire wasn't set by Lady Rohanne. It started in the woods, probably lightning or just the intense heat, and it's blowing toward her lands, not theirs. She didn't come here to attack them. She came here to stop the fire. It's all a misunderstanding fueled by pride and paranoia.
Dunk screams at Eustace to stop, but the old man isn't listening. So Dunk does the only thing he can do. He kicks his horse and rides straight into the middle of the stream. He puts himself directly between the arrows and the peasants. He is a giant target, waving his hands, demanding a parley. Lady Rohanne rides out to meet him. She is furious. She thinks Eustace started the fire. Dunk tries to explain, but words aren't working anymore. The Longinge is whispering in her ear, urging her to attack. The archers are tightening their bowstrings. The slaughter is seconds away. So Dunk plays his final card. He looks Rohanne in the eye and invokes a sacred right. "I demand a trial by combat," he roars. He challenges the Longinge to single combat. If Dunk wins, the Osgreys go free and the matter is settled. If Dunk loses, well, he dies and Standfast burns.
The Longinge smiles. He has been waiting for this. He accepts immediately. Now guys, forget every cool sword fight you have seen in movies. This is not a dance. This is a brawl in a muddy, drying riverbed. The Longinge is wielding a poleaxe, a long weapon with a hammer and a spike, designed to crack open armor like a walnut. Dunk just has his old sword and a shield that's seen better days. The fight starts, and it is ugly. The Longinge has the reach.
He swings that poleaxe and crack! He smashes Dunk's shield. Splinters fly everywhere. Dunk tries to close the distance, but the mud sucks at his boots. He's slow. He's clumsy. The Longinge is poking him, taunting him, landing heavy blows on his helmet. Clang! Clang! Dunk's head is ringing like a bell. Blood is running into his eyes, blinding him.
Dunk takes a massive hit to the side. He goes down. He falls face first into the shallow, stinking water. The Longinge looms over him, raising that poleaxe for the killing blow. This is it. This is how the story ends. Dunk the Tall, dead in a ditch. But Dunk remembers something. He isn't a knight trained in a castle. He was born in Flea Bottom. He's a street fighter, and he is huge. As the Longinge swings, Dunk doesn't try to block. He lunges. He abandons his sword and tackles the Longinge around the waist. They crash into the water together. Now it's a wrestling match. The Longinge is strong, but Dunk is a giant. Dunk rips the helmet off the Longinge's head. He ignores the pain, ignores the wounds, and uses his raw weight to pin the man down. He forces the Longinge's face into the mud. He holds him there. The Longinge thrashes, clawing at Dunk's armor, trying to breathe, but Dunk doesn't let go. It is brutal. It is intimate. It's not glorious combat. It's just one man drowning another in 3 inches of dirty water. Finally, Dunk pulls his dagger. The Longinge stops moving. It's over. Dunk stands up, gasping for air, covered in mud and blood. He looks at Lady Rohanne. He looks at Ser Eustace. The silence is deafening. He won, but he doesn't feel like a winner. He feels broken. He stumbles toward the bank and collapses. Everything goes black.
When Dunk finally opens his eyes, days have passed. He's lying in a bed at Standfast, bandaged up like a mummy. He's alive, but he hurts everywhere. He expects to hear that the war has restarted, or that Venice has been captured. But instead, Maester Cougar tells him the news. And folks, you might want to sit down for this, because it is the most George R.R. Martin twist ever. Ser Eustace and Lady Rohanne got married. She asks Dunk to stay. She offers him a good position, a warm bed, a place as the captain of her guard. And you can tell she likes him. Maybe she even loves him a little. But Dunk is Dunk. He knows he doesn't belong in a castle playing politics. He is a hedge knight. He belongs on the road, sleeping under the stars. He gently turns her down. Rohanne is heartbroken. She turns away, grabbing a dagger. For a second, you think she might stab him. But instead, she grabs her long, beautiful red braid, the one she is famous for, and slices it off. She gives it to Dunk. It's a token, a memory. It's her saying, "You are the only man who ever fought for me without wanting something in return." Dunk takes it, and it's one of the few treasures he keeps for the rest of his life.
Dunk and Egg ride out of the gate, and as they hit the road, the sky turns dark gray. Thunder rolls across the North March. And finally, after 2 years of baking heat, a drop of water hits Dunk's face. Then another. Then a downpour. The drought is over. The rain washes away the blood, the fire, and the dust. The world is clean again. But wait, before you click off, remember that serial killer grandmother fact I dropped at the beginning? We need to talk about Lady Rohanne Webber's future. Because this isn't the last time history hears from her. Years after this story, Lady Rohanne marries a man named Gerald Lannister. She becomes the Lady of Casterly Rock. They have a son named Tytos Lannister, and Tytos has a son named Tywin Lannister. That is right. The Red Widow, the fiery, ruthless, intelligent woman Dunk met in the desert, is the biological grandmother of Tywin Lannister. She is the great-grandmother of Cersei, Jaime, and Tyrion. Suddenly, the Lannister ruthlessness makes so much sense, doesn't it? That fire didn't come from nowhere, it came from the Red Widow. And get this, in the main books, it's mentioned that she eventually vanished under mysterious circumstances. A mystery for another time, perhaps. And that is the story of the Sworn Sword. It's a tale about the gray areas of war, the lies of history, and how sometimes the villain is just a woman trying to survive, and the hero is just a traitor living in the past. Dunk and Egg's journey isn't over yet. In fact, things are about to get way more dangerous. They are heading toward a wedding tournament at White Walls, where a dragon egg has gone missing and a secret second Blackfyre rebellion is brewing in the shadows. You do not want to miss the next chapter. Make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you're the first to see our next video, The Mystery Knight. Until then, this is Story Summarized. Please subscribe and I'll see you on the King's Road.